Part 3 on direct objects is going to deal with the question words wen and was, and a little bit of wer, simply because I want to tell you how it's different from wen and was. Wen and was are used to inquire about the direct object of a sentence. Wen means whom, and was means what. These are the two words we ask when we want to know what is the direct object of a sentence. Wen we use when we're asking about a person. It means whom. Don't confuse wen with the question word wer. Wer means who. It asks about the subject of a sentence. Who is doing something? Because remember, a subject is the thing that does the verb. Wen means whom, and it asks about the direct object of a sentence, the thing that is receiving the action. Whom is receiving the action from the verb, not the one who is doing the verb. It's the same difference between English's who and whom. In English, we say who when we want to know who is doing the action, who is the subject of a sentence. And we ask whom when we want to know whom is receiving the action of that verb. For example, Heike hit Karsten. Heike is the subject, so if we wanted to know who was doing the hitting, we would ask who. If we wanted to know whom Heike hit, then we would use whom, because we want to know who is the person that Heike hit, who received the action of the hit. Another example is when we ask for the subject is, for example, wer wohnt in Dresden? We want to know who is the person that is living in Dresden. Answer, Heike wohnt in Dresden. Heike is the one living in Dresden. Wen kennst du is an example of using wen asking for a direct object. Du, right here, is the subject. You are the person knowing. We want to know, though, whom you know. That's the direct object. You are the one doing the knowing. We want to know who's the person that you know. And that is, ich kenne die Lehrerin. I know the teacher. So you are telling me that you know the teacher. And that is the direct object, the teacher. That's the new information in the sentence. We didn't know that before when we asked the question. And the teacher is the direct object. If we go back over here, the new information in this sentence is Heike. We wanted to know who lives in Dresden. Well, we still have the lives in Dresden, but the new information is telling us that Heike is the one doing the living. So that's the new information, and that's what we wanted to know. We wanted to know the subject. We wanted to know about Heike doing the living here. And we already knew that you were the one who knew, so telling us that you know someone isn't new, but the person that you know is the new information, and that's the direct object. Was is used to ask about an object. For example, what are you buying? Was kaufst du? You are the one that's buying, so you are the subject. But in this case, we want to know what it is you're buying, and that's the direct object that's receiving the action of buying. You are the one doing the action, but what are you buying? Ich kaufe den Kuli. I am buying the pen. We already knew you were the one that's buying, so that's not new. But this new information here, den Kuli, what you're buying, is the direct object. So therefore, was here was asking for the direct object. We can also use was as asking for the subject of something, but I'm not going to confuse you by going into detail with that. So in this sentence, the subject is ich, you're the one doing the buying, and the direct object is den Kuli. Notice it was den. Now you try. Pause this recording and fill in either wer, wen, or was for the following sentences. My hint is look and see if some of them have a subject already. If there is a subject there, then you know that you are asking for the direct object. Now let's look at the answers. Blank kommt heute. Well, if we look, kommt is the verb, and today is the other word, but today is not the one that's coming. So we want to know who is coming. So we're going to ask wer, which means who. Who's coming today? Number 2, we have machst du. Machen is your verb, to do, to do. And then we have du, which means you, and that's the subject. You. So the question is, what are you doing? So we're going to want was as our answer. Was machst du? What are you doing? You could probably, if you thought wen, you were kind of close, but obviously whom are you doing doesn't really make that much sense, so it can't be that answer. And who we can't ask because we already have du there, so we know who's doing it. It's you. Number 3, blank bringst du mit. We got do again here, and it's the one that's bringing along. So we actually want to know either was or wen. Either one of those answers will work. In this case, I wrote wen, but you could also ask what are you bringing or whom are you bringing along. So either one of those works, although right here I have wen. Number 4, blank spielt Sarah am Wochenende. Spielen means to play, so this would be what does Sarah play on the weekend? Not whom does she play on the weekend, but what. So your answer for number 4 is was. And then blank kenne ich. Again, we have a subject here, ich, I know. Well, what or whom do I know? Well, I can tell you kenne is only really used for people, like to be familiar with people for the most part, or locations. So in this case, I sided mostly with wen. Whom do you know? Do you know the teacher? Do you know my cousin? Do you know, I don't know, Joe Bob down the street? So whom is the one I went with. If you had was, you can kind of go with that too, but again, that would be more if you're familiar with the location. So wen would be a better one for right now. So those are the answers to the question words on the screencast. Look for part 3 on direct pronouns later.